Very excited to introduce our next guest. It's Jon Bernthal. He's the host of a new podcast. You know, it's funny, Jon. Sometimes I find out that celebrities watch the show. Usually I'm like, yeah, whatever. But with you, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, that's Jon Bernthal. Anyway, I know you've got a new podcast out, The Real Ones. I actually took a listen to your episode on Russia, which is part of the reason I actually wanted to talk to you. You actually have some interesting things to say. So welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Thanks so much, man. I am. I'm an enormous fan, and I'm so deeply appreciative of what you guys are doing. And I think, you know, in an age right now where it's just so hard to get sort of unfiltered and real and honest and you know, just sort of fair information delivered by folks that you know, really, I really feel like I trust you guys, and I love getting my news from you guys. I love your opinions and the discourse that you have on the show. So I'm really grateful. Look, I think for my show, similarly, look, I have no place. I have no place sort of in you know, exploring the key issues of the day. I wear makeup and say lines for a living, and I think the last thing we need, sort of what you alluded to, is another celebrity kind of spouting off and pontificating on the major issues of the day. You know, our job is really to tell stories. That being said, I've been so enormously frustrated with just the discourse in this country right now, and you know, not just in the media, but kind of all over. And I think, unfortunately, so much of you know, what we're listening and what we're watching is sort of this agenda-based, you know, sort of flag waving, this bombast and this rhetoric, and people just sort of trying to get people to join their side. And you know, for me, I can't really imagine anything less American. I think that you know, to be patriotic and to be strong is really about compromise. It's really about being secure enough in your positions to open up yourself to people that think differently than you, people that were raised differently than you, people of different backgrounds from you, political backgrounds, racial backgrounds, sexual orientations. It's what makes, you know, this country really wonderful. And look, I've been enormously blessed in my life, where I grew up and how I grew up, and with what I do for a living, that I've gotten to learn from and meet all these wonderful folks that I've become enormously close with. So the folks that I have on my show are special forces soldiers, they're police officers, they're surgeons, they're teachers, they're coaches, they're firefighters, they're nurses. I really believe that when you focus on folks that really, you know, walk the walk, don't just talk about it, there's a certain kind of empathy there. There's a certain understanding. I think they're too busy and have had too much time, you know, really with boots on the grounds of these issues, to join a side. And they understand that, you know, we're all human beings, and we all want what's best for our kids, and we all want our families to prosper and to make this world as good as possible. And I'm enormously grateful for the folks that come on my show, and I believe in them. And as much as I sort of want less of me out there, not more, this show really has nothing to do with me. It's about the great folks that I bring on.
Well, it actually really comes through in your interviews. Like I said, I mean, I think most celebrity podcasts are terrible. But I was listening to this, I'm like, this guy actually asks good questions. He's letting his guests speak. He's making sure he's elevating somebody legitimately interesting. And I guess it's, you know, it's fit. I mean, like I'm saying, to be honest, I've always found like a deep fascination with some of the characters. You have a real rawness in some of the people that you play. We were speaking before we went on the air about We Own the City, which is David Simon's, I guess, kind of a sequel-ish to The Wire, in which you play a Baltimore police officer. I'm not going to give away too much, but I mean, can you maybe talk about, you know, some of the themes that we have here on our show, on your show, in playing multifaceted characters, which are both villainous, but you're also doing something in a social commentary, which is very deep and outside of the way that most of the media and popular culture likes to talk about these things?
Yeah, look, I think that's right. I think look, who better to kind of explore these issues that have really gripped the soul of the country right now? These issues of race and policing. Who better to do that than David Simon and George Pelecanos? They come to the work with a journalistic integrity. They're trying to tell the truth. There's no agenda. There's no flag waving. I knew with these guys, there would be a certain level of access in the city of Baltimore because of what they've done before. It's hard, the way that I really like to work again is to kind of dive in and to get to know the real folks. That's sort of my sword, to try to tell the story as authentically and truthfully as I can. And I knew with David Simon, because of, for lack of a better word, their street cred with The Wire, when you're going into the Baltimore Police Department and you're saying, hey, we're trying to tell a story about sort of one of the most corrupt and vile episodes of your department, it's going to be hard to get them to kind of open up their hearts and minds and open up the doors to you. For that show, I did 3 months of ride-alongs every day in every district of the city. I went on drug raids with the Baltimore SWAT team. And I'm so grateful to those guys. And what I found by this approach of kind of digging into the wound of race and policing, trying to tell the story authentically and without an agenda, I found that they really appreciated it. And look, I mean, I think that there's no words for, how vile and reprehensible and how awful, police brutality and police corruption and the effect that has on victims, whether it's Fourth Amendment violation victims, folks that have been wrongfully imprisoned, folks that have been beaten, folks that have been killed. There's no words for that. There's also another subset of victims that I never knew about, and I think gets very little focus, and that's the good and righteous and courageous people that take the peacemaker's code, the peacemaker's oath, and that go and police our cities. Good cops suffer at the hands of bad cops, and there's no other profession, I think, that the acts of the vile acts of the worst of them really just changes both the career paths and just the livelihoods and the way in which people police. And it's part of the thing that I'm trying to do on my podcast as well. Is I think the only answer there is to weed out and to single out the ones that are there for the wrong reasons and they're there for corruption or have horrible issues that manifest itself in violence on the street. But let's also celebrate the great police. And I think the answers to policing will lie in the people that have community-minded great police that have been there forever. And I'm really grateful that I got sort of a front row ticket to that, and I got to make some really good friends along the way.
That's great, man. I mean, it really comes through in your acting, in your show, and I really think you're really having a renaissance these days. And I can attest to the audience, he is one of the real ones. He's one of the good ones, not one of the ones we make fun of often on the show. So, Jon, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciated both your podcast and talking to you, getting to get to know you a little bit more, and I look forward to a lot more of your work. So, thank you.
Me too, man. Keep up the good work. I really appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Take care.
We'll see you guys later.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.